Okay, Chloe. Well done, first of all. Really good, strong essay. Got some points to kind of go through and to show you where you've done particularly well and where there are some points where you could improve. First of all, if you look at the title, it asks you to look at either Jordan Baker or Daisy Buchanan's actions throughout the novel and how they represent a patriarchal system. It looks to me like throughout the essay you have chosen Jordan Baker, but you haven't introduced it very clearly. This introduction here is looking largely at feminism as an idea in the 1920s. And at this bit, you start talking about Daisy, but you don't necessarily mention Jordan explicitly until you get down to here. It would be better if you mentioned Jordan explicitly either here or here so that it was clear who you were talking about in terms of that part of the essay. Also, with the introduction, we've got some spelling and grammar issues, which are significant. You will get marked on them when it comes to your written assignments within the IB. I'm trying to find them now. The characters within style. Capital C, which should be lowercase there. It's full potential defining characters through their actions. I think that's largely it. Just that one capital C there at the beginning. The rest of that seems to be quite good. When you get down here, you talk in quite some detail about the physical description of Jordan and what she looked like. This is good, and you link it explicitly to the idea of her living in a patriarchal society. My one issue would be is that you've chosen to focus on Jordan Baker here and onwards throughout the essay, which is great. And Jordan Baker is someone who rebels against the patriarchal system. Yet here in the introduction, you state that during the 1920s, after the World War, women's role in society were small and insignificant. So you need to perhaps balance this against this, because they weren't necessarily small and insignificant if Jordan Baker is a celebrity golfer. She was rebelling against this. So instead, if you talked about the 1920s being a time of change for women, that would have been much better in your introduction. Good for talking about her name being a largely masculine name. I think you've regurgitated this fact from when I told you about the name being a boy's name in the late 90s. That was me talking off the top of my head, and I should have perhaps been more clear. That isn't necessarily a gospel truth. You would have to do a bit of research and cite where that research was from in your essay to clarify that. I'm not sure if that is actually true or if that was just me talking in the lesson and giving you a random sort of time roughly, but you would have to check that and clarify it within your essay. Only one R in comparison, and profession has one F, so just be careful with spelling. You talk about her being a professional golfer and the similarities that that makes between Jordan and other men in the system, which is brilliant. And her actions, and that she is, you say she is portrayed as a very sneaky and cold-hearted. I'm not quite sure why you think she's sneaky. You need to be more specific. There isn't, for example, a quotation in this paragraph, and it would be much stronger if you did include a quotation to prove why you think she is sneaky and cold-hearted. Remember that you must make explicit reference to the text throughout an essay. Again, we can see here the continuation of this paragraph, that you don't have a quotation in there. Brilliant to talk about her not having any male father figures in her life. She lives with her aunt. It's unclear as to why. I would perhaps go into a little bit more detail about why she doesn't live with, why it's not explained why she lives with her aunt. That information isn't ever given to us, but it's a bit of an unusual bit of information that leaves us sort of questioning why she is living with her aunt and not family or on her own or with a husband or anything like that. Perhaps that's to do with the supposed affairs that are hinted at, and you could do with explaining that a little bit further. Overall, it's a really strong, positive essay. 883 words, slightly short of the word count, but not tragically short, and overall really impressed. Well done, Chloe.